This program and its contents are designed for information and educational purposes only. This program does not render medical advice or professional services and is not intended to be a substitute for professional care. The information provided here should not be used for the purposes of diagnosing or treating a medical or psychiatric condition. If you have or suspect you may have a health problem, consult your healthcare provider. Positive Momentum would like to give a special thanks to Oracle Aviation at Millard Airport for use of their facilities and aircraft.
Hi, I'm Joe Schwerdtfeger. I'm an airframe and powerplant mechanic and commercial pilot here at Millard Airport and Oracle Aviation. We're talking about the engine, power plant, and landing gear systems of your average general aviation aircraft. With this specific aircraft, it uses a 4-cylinder engine, just very similar to what's in your car, to turn a propeller. The propeller pushes air back and creates a differential pressure, and that's what propels the aircraft forward. When we're looking for the different features and safety of these aircraft, we're really just going to run our hands around it, make sure that nothing's deformed on the propeller, make sure it's attached snugly. And I mean, it's just a piece of aluminum, or in some aircraft wood. Really is a safe piece of equipment. There's not a lot of moving parts involved. When we move to the front here, engine cowling, what this is doing is allowing us to take air into the engine, not only to power it, but also to keep it cool. Just making sure that there's nothing blocking, nothing in the way. We'll check the alternator belt. It's very similar. In fact, it's the same kind of material that you'll find in your car, on your serpentine belts and stuff. All that does is helps power the alternators so that you can have electrical power in the aircraft. Now, depending on the aircraft, each of them have different cowlings and different systems. Thankfully, this one, we can take a really good look at what's inside on the engine. It's one of the safest configurations of a Lycoming 4-cylinder engine. It's horizontally opposed, or a boxer configuration, and you'll see that we have a lot of baffles and stuff. That's directing cooling air where it needs to be for the engine. We're going to look at that to make sure it's all in place. We're checking the different harnesses for the spark plugs and everything else for the electrical system. We're checking the exhaust system because to guard against carbon monoxide in the cockpit, we want to make sure there's no cracks in it. We check the brakes, brake fluid, and everything down through that system and the hydraulics, just to make sure that we're going to have brakes. Everything's looking good on this one. You can see a lot of different lines and wires on different harnesses. These are just bundled and kept away from the heat. The other side of the engine looks very similar. Once we've ensured everything in the engine department is good to go. Secure outer cowling, that's just letting smooth air go across it, lets us fly a little bit faster, and it looks better. We could fly without the cowling, but plane likes flying with it. Other aircraft, like your bigger airliners and your jets and jet props, they have what's known as a turbine engine. It's doing the same exact job, just does it in a different way, using a different kind of fuel, and it tends to be extremely reliable. You rarely have problems with the turbine engines. They're very, very simple in operation. Suck air in, ignite it, and send it out the back. Real simple. Next thing we'll look at down here, prop out of the way here, is your landing gear. Now this is just the nose gear, and it's pretty similar to just about every aircraft out there. It uses an air oil strut or an oleo strut. The only difference between this and your bigger airliners is the size. This is obviously not needing to be a huge diameter because we don't have that much weight. So we check to make sure it's got the proper extension. We can tell, as long as you got about 4 fingers, that we don't need to add any oil or air to it. We're checking the different bolts on the torque links. The torque links are there only to hold the wheel straight. We're going to check the fork here on both sides. We're just looking to make sure that the bolts are secure and the safety clips are engaged. Tire looks good. We've got plenty of tread. That's there so that we don't hydroplane. While we're under here, we can take a look, make sure the vents are open. We would check using a fuel tester. We sump fuel out of the aircraft. What we're doing is making sure that there's no water or contaminants and anything that would foul up the engine. After that, no matter what you're looking on a pre-flight, you want to just take a step back. And does everything look okay? Everything looks good here. I would say this engine and prop, nose gear, good to go.